Sports.
The Super 6 World Boxing Classic has been a roller coaster so far.
The winner and still champion, Froch.
4 scintillating fights with a variety of results.
He slips again. That was a foul. Fight's over. You lose by disqualification.
That all had one thing in common. The hometown fighter won. Tonight, Mikkel Kessler enters the ring in Denmark, his homeland. Will the comforts of home rejuvenate him? Can he keep the streak alive and become champion again? Or will Carl Froch cross the North Sea with his relentless, aggressive style, break the streak, and take the lead in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic? Tonight, will it be redemption or respect? Herning, Denmark, a charming small town located about 200 miles from Denmark's capital of Copenhagen, is the scene of the latest edition of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. England's Carl Froch, the WBC super middleweight champion, has traveled to the MCH Arena in Herning for a battle with Denmark's Mikkel Kessler. It's an all-European showdown, the second fight of Group Stage 2 of the Super 6. Hello, everyone. Coming to you from our studios in New York City, I'm Gus Johnson, and we had planned to have our entire crew in Denmark for tonight's fight, but the recent volcano activity in Iceland caused massive disruptions in European airspace and made travel impossible for days. It was decided the best option was to mobilize our team here in New York in order to ensure coverage of the fight for Showtime. So, with that being said, welcome to the Super 6 World Boxing Classic and the second fight of Group Stage 2, with Carl Froch defending his WBC super middleweight title against former champion Mikkel Kessler. It's the third Super 6 tournament fight in Europe, the first in Denmark, and the 5th out of 5 in which anything can happen. And the current standings for this unique tournament format show the field closely bunched. Arthur Abraham is on top with 3 points by virtue of his knockout win over Jermaine Taylor in Group Stage 1. Andre Ward, Carl Froch, and Andre Durrell are next with 2 points, followed by Mikkel Kessler and tournament newcomer Alan Green. The standings speak volumes about the significance of tonight's fight. Simply put, Mikkel Kessler is a desperate fighter. Before facing Andre Ward in Group Stage 1, Kessler was a world champion and the tournament favorite. If he loses to Froch tonight, he runs a serious risk of failing to qualify for the tournament's semifinals. And from our studios here in New York City, let me welcome Al Bernstein, the veteran, and the Magic Man, 4-time light heavyweight world champion, Antonio Magic Man Tarver. And gentlemen, this tournament was expected to be unpredictable, and it certainly has lived up to that billing. We have had upsets, knockouts, withdrawals, disqualifications, and really the only thing that has held true is the hometown advantage.
Yeah, within that wild dynamic that you mentioned for this tournament, one of the key points is that literally half the fights we've had, 2 out of the 4, have ended in upsets. And in terms of winning on the road, the one man who came close to doing it was Andre Durrell, who had this split decision loss to Carl Froch. And Antonio, that begs the question, what exactly is it going to take for somebody to win on the road in this tournament?
Al, that's a great question, but that remains to be seen. What makes it so difficult to go to someone's backyard is because you've had your training camp for 6 to 7 weeks. Now they tell you have to uproot and go to a foreign place. And as a fighter, the closer we get to the fight, we get real tedious. Things seem to bother us. And you can be faced with language barriers, time difference, and you have to acclimate to all these things. That's what make it tough. And you still have to focus on the fight and defeating someone that is on your level for his talent, skill, and ability. That's what makes it tough.
Should be interesting as we move forward in this tournament. and tonight to see if it happens. Well, let's take a look at the remainder of the schedule for Group Stage 2 and for Group Stage 3 in this tournament. Coming up on June 19th from Oakland, California, Andre Ward will fight Alan Green, the newcomer in this tournament, in the last fight of Group Stage 2. And then as we look to Group Stage 3, we can see that it shapes up in this way. Every fighter will still have the opportunity to advance to the semifinals if they can get a big win.
And guys, what's really interesting, one of the interesting aspects of this tournament is how perception changes not only from group stage to group stage, but quite often from fight to fight.
Yeah, often from round to round in the fights, I think. You know, the fact of the matter is that happens because the challenges change in every fight. You may be facing someone next time out with what you perceive to be a better style for you. That's the case with Mikkel Kessler tonight. He lost to Andre Ward. It was a bad loss, but he feels that Carl Froch presents a style that's easier for him to deal with tonight. We'll find out.
And Antonio, for Carl Froch, he's proven that he can win on the road. We've seen that before. And with the win tonight in Denmark, Froch has an opportunity to steamroll himself into the semifinals.
Yes, he does. And the fight that you're mentioning is the fact that he came to America. He defended his championship against former undisputed champion Jermaine Taylor. And in that fight, he was behind on all scorecards and pulled victory from defeat. He knocked Jermaine Taylor out with less than 30 seconds to go. He'll need that type of dogged determination if he's going to go into Denmark and keep his WBC championship and become the new leader in the World Super 6 Classic.
All right, champ. Well, we're fortunate that one member of our team was able to make it to Denmark for tonight's fight, and he's standing by in Herning as we welcome Steve Farhood to our telecast. Steve, clearly this is a big fight with enormous implications for the Super 6, but how big is this fight in general there in Denmark?
Well, Gus, this has been front page virtually ever since it was made. Mikkel Kessler is the largest sports star here in Denmark. That includes soccer players. And to give you an idea, there are 10,000 people in this arena. In all of Herning, Denmark, there are only 45,000. Jimmy Montoya is Kessler's new trainer, and he used to wear Mikkel Kessler T-shirts whenever he'd come to Denmark. He can't get away with that anymore, because whenever he does, he told me that he gets mobbed, people tugging on his sleeves, screaming, "Where's Mikkel? Where's Mikkel?" So he's only grown in popularity, and this will be Mikkel Kessler's 40th fight in Denmark, clearly the most significant of all 40.
Okay, a lot on the line for the Viking Warrior, and we look forward to your post-fight interviews after the fight is done. And we've got more on tonight's Super 6 World Boxing Classic Group Stage 2 fight. But we want to remind you what's coming up on Showtime. Inside NASCAR provides exclusive insights to America's #1 spectator sport throughout the season with premiere episodes on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Showbox, the new generation, showcases 3 undefeated super middleweight prospects on April 30th. Fight Camp 360, inside the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, gets exclusive behind-the-scenes access to all the fighters. And coming up May 15th, Strikeforce features heavyweight Alistair Overeem defending his title against Brett the Grim Rogers. Then May 21st, Strikeforce Challengers is back with the future stars of Strikeforce. Showtime Championship Boxing features a classic rivalry on May 22nd, and the Super 6 World Boxing Classic returns with another fight on June 19th. It's all here on Showtime.
After 3 legendary fights, it's not about the history they made. It's about the battle ahead.
What a beautiful flurry by Marquez. Vasquez continues to hammer away. Revenge, redemption.
Vasquez versus Marquez 4, Saturday, May 22nd at 9. As the Super 6 World Boxing Classic began, undefeated super middleweight Andre Ward dominated the tournament favorite to take the WBA title.
This is it. This is my time.
Now, he faces tournament newcomer Alan Green, a brutal power puncher determined to prove he belongs.
There's nobody in the tournament that can beat me. Nobody.
Ward versus Green. Stage 2 of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic continues Saturday, June 19th at 10, only on Showtime.
So coming up next, Carl Froch fights Mikkel Kessler from Herning, Denmark in Group Stage 2 of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Carl Froch supremely confident after his win over Andre Durrell. while Mikkel Kessler finds himself at a crossroads as both men prepare for tonight's fight.
The fight was close, but it wasn't a split decision. I boxed very well, did what I had to do to win. That fight's behind me now. I'm looking ahead towards the next fight. I think if anyone's got anything to prove, it's Mikkel Kessler. He's coming off a loss.
Ward is a great fighter, but I couldn't recognize myself in that fight. I was fighting his fight, not my own. So that's a big loss for me. This is kind of my last chance, I think, for the tournament.
This gym is the amateur boxing gym for the London Olympics. So there's a lot of Olympic hopefuls in here. It helps me coming here, seeing the youth and the enthusiasm. Go! But in turn, it helps them to see a world champion pull up in a nice car and still do all the hard work and realise what it takes to get to the top, as well as remain at the top.
Okay, Mr. Besta, you're steady.
Mikkel Kessler lost his last fight, lost his world title, and straight away in his next fight, he gets the opportunity to fight for the WBC title. If that's not bad enough for me, the champion, it's in his backyard. I'm going over to Denmark to fight him on his territory.
Changing my trainer was a new thing for me. I worked with Jimmy for many years, and I'm very confident in him.
Okay, on the last one, we'll get it out.
That man is crazy.
I want to show the world that Mikkel isn't the same fighter that what Andre Ward. He's got a lot more to offer. Froch is a strong fighter, but it's going to be a little garden snake when Mikkel gets through with him.
I gotta remind me every day.
Every day he wants that belt.
He's a handsome guy.
Mikkel Kessler's not fought anybody like me. He's coming off the back of a loss, so he's trying to reinvent himself. When the pressure's on him and I start hitting him, he'll just go back to survival instincts and he'll subconsciously do what he's trained to do for years and years.
Well, you got a hit and gone.
He's coming into a fight with an undefeated super middleweight champion of the world who can punch, who's fit, strong. I'm at my best, and I'll beat anybody.
This is everything for me, this fight. I know I'm not finished. I'm just back, better than, stronger than ever. And Carl Froch has to prove me wrong.
'30-year-old Mikkel Kessler, fighting in his homeland, is looking to rebound from his loss to Andre Ward and his WBA world title. His status in this tournament and maybe his career hanging in the balance.
And for Mikkel Kessler, making the walk to the ring amidst his home crowd and this adulation, but for the first time, as you look at Jimmy Montoya behind him, for the first time ever in his boxing career without Richard Olson, who started him training when he was only 13 years of age. A different situation for him.
Yes, it is, Al. But it's this type of last-minute confidence that Mikkel Kessler may need in order to win these earlier rounds. But he still has to channel even this energy and stay mentally focused on the job at hand.
And in Kessler's case, he's not an emotional fighter. He's a technical fighter, so he has to find a way to use that, but not let it take him out of his game. And an important moment for him, to be sure, coming into this arena.
And for Mikkel Kessler, he told us that the reason he's looking forward to fighting Carl Froch, unlike Ward, he knows that Froch is going to be there.
Yes, he will be right there. He doesn't bring those intangibles that really gives Mikkel Kessler fits, speed, quickness, foot speed. Froch will be there for him to hit, and I think it's going to be an incredible fight.
So Mikkel Kessler enters the ring looking to redeem himself after what he calls the poorest showing of his career against Andre Ward. Al, he was slow. He couldn't figure out the timing of the quicker Andre Ward, and it showed.
It did indeed, and at age 30, he understands how important this is and drinking in the adulation of the crowd in Herning.
Mikkel Kessler in the ring. "32-year-old Carl Froch, the champion, brash, bold, undefeated, and confident that he will retain his WBC world title tonight on foreign soil."
Carl Froch is the Tim Tebow of the super middleweight division. He gets the job done. He wins. It doesn't always look like you think it's supposed to look. He's 3-0 in world championship matches, of course, undefeated totally, as you pointed out, for his career. He only knows how to win, and he thinks he's vastly underrated, and of course, he is, as you said, just a little confident.
And when you look at his face, you can tell that he's locked in. I mean, he embraces this villain type of image. I mean, only it can work for a guy like Carl Froch.
Carl Froch telling us that he wants to start fast. He plans on going out there, establishing his jab to set up the right hand, and by the 8th or 9th round, walk away with the KO of the former champion. So with all that in mind, let's take a look at the tail of the tape.
And this tail of the tape is really intriguing because as we take a look at it, the fact of the matter is that the reach advantage for Carl Froch could become very important if he can get his jabs going, especially the double jabs. A look at the rules: no standing 8, no 3 knockdown rule, of course. Only the referee can stop the fight. Cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And after 4 rounds, if there's an accidental clash of heads, they would go to the scorecards.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Mina damer och herrar, god afton och hjärtligt välkommen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this MCH Herning in Denmark for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Team Sauerland in association with Hennessy Sports, Viasat, and Showtime. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, the President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Bob Logist, along with the Danish Boxing Commission. The chairman is Jesper Jensen. Timekeepers tonight, Knud Rundbeck and Ulla Gardbo, and our 3 judges scoring the bout from ringside. From Italy, Guido Cavalletti. From Belgium, Roger Tillman, and also from Belgium, Daniel Vanderveel. Introducing our 3rd man to the ring, our referee in charge, hailing from Canada, Michael Griffin. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. It's the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. It's 12 rounds of action scheduled for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Herning, Denmark, it's showtime! Introducing to you first, the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the colors of the Danish flag, white trunks with red trim. Fighting out of Copenhagen, Denmark, he weighed in at 75.8 kilos or 167 pounds. With a record of 42 wins, 2 losses. He has 32 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight in his 11th straight world title appearance, here is the 2-time world champion, boxing's popular pride of Denmark, known as the Viking Warrior, introducing Mikkel Kessler. And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks and hailing from Nottingham, England. He weighed in at 75.9 kilos or 167 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 26 wins, no losses, 20 wins. Once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Michael Griffin.
Okay, Carl. Gentlemen, clear the ring, please, gentlemen. Clear the ring, please, gentlemen. Just one man. Clear the ring, please. Just one man here. You men both received my instructions. I want a good, clean fight. You must obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. I want you to touch gloves now, man. We're going to box at the bell. Good luck to both of you. God bless you.
Mikkel Kessler in desperate need of a win, looking for his first points of the tournament, and at the same time, the WBC World title. And then there's Carl Froch with the win. Froch punches a ticket into the Super 6 semifinals and becomes the points leader. But more importantly to Froch, retains his belt. Round 1, scheduled for 12. MCH Center, the WBC Super Middleweight World title on the line in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic.
Carl Froch made the point to us that it's very important for him to get off to a good start in this fight. He says he's got to get Kessler's respect and get on the scoreboard, if you will, early.
What is the Montoya effect at?
Jimmy Montoya is a great motivator, and throughout the fight that may have some impact on Kessler. And he feels he is simply going to get out of Kessler. He said, I'm not going to change his style. I'm going to get out of him what's already in him, but he has not shown in recent fights.
And Antonio, Kessler's camp saying that in his fight against Andre Ward, there was no plan B, but now there's a plan A, B, C, and maybe even D.
Yes, and you can see the difference in opponents. I mean, Andre Darrell was everywhere, giving him head movement, giving him feints, and those are the things that confuse Kessler. Right here, they're toe-to-toe. He's the one that's been the aggressor, and he's pressing Froch back. He don't have to look for Froch. He's going to be right there. This is going to be a great fight tonight, gentlemen.
That's right, Andre Ward giving Kessler all kinds of problems with his speed and quickness.
You know, and Froch has landed some very good right hands already as Kessler presses forward. Remember, Kessler's by nature a counterpuncher, and Froch told us he thought he could box a little bit against Kessler. In some respects, he's doing that early in this fight.
Froch with that left hand all the way down, below his waist. Very confident in his defensive skills as well. He told us that because of his unorthodox style of fighting, he isn't the classic European fighter, and that's going to be a huge advantage for him tonight against Kessler.
He's moving more right now, Froch is, and it's Kessler coming forward. Both men desperate to establish their jab early, and both have tried to do it.
Yeah, we see Kessler throw a couple double jabs. I think that double jab will be his ticket tonight.
Froch wants to get out to a fast pace. He wants to take Kessler's confidence away. He knows that psychologically, Kessler, if he gets in trouble, will start to think about the fight against Andre Ward in Oakland, California. Only 2 losses in this former champion's entire career, and Froch right now starting to pick him apart.
This is a good first round for both men in some ways.
10 seconds remaining in the first, scheduled for 12 for the WBC Super Middleweight World title. Carl Froch in black, Mikkel Kessler in white. And that's the end of round 1. So, Al, what are the keys here in group stage 2?
For Mikkel Kessler, his jab disappeared against Andre Ward. It needs to re-emerge tonight. He's trying it. He loses focus sometimes on defense. It's not good against an attacker like Froch. The Kessler money punch is the right hand. He landed it a few times in round 1. Jermaine Taylor put Froch down with that punch. The double jab is important for Carl Froch. It'll freeze Kessler in his tracks. And when he attacks, Froch squares his body up sometimes. That's an inviting target for the Kessler right. He's got to be physical in his fight, Froch. Take Kessler out of his comfort zone.
Okay? That was an even round and they'll probably give it him, you know that. So that's your warmed up now. Let's be sharp, don't force nothing, but busy with the jab and the right hand.
The MCH Center, Herning, Denmark. And this is the WBC Super Middleweight World title in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Mikkel Kessler, the challenger in white. Carl Froch, the WBC champion in black. Carl Froch from Nottingham, England. Mikkel Kessler fighting in his homeland, Denmark. Now Kessler off to a little quicker beginning to start the second round. He's been using his jab, going to the midsection. There's the right hand now, landing flush to Froch's body.
And that body attack is going to do well for Kessler as long as this fight lasts. I think what give Kessler a good chance tonight, he's got to have a great case of amnesia. He has to forget about that Andre Ward fight. This is a new day, new beginning, and a championship title is on the line.
Kessler, 42-2, 32 knockouts, pinning Froch in the corner. Now Carl Froch fighting out of it.
We've seen more jabs from Mikkel Kessler already in this fight than I think we saw in most of the fight against Andre Ward. Both men have the intent to establish that, and Kessler's done well in this round.
Carl Froch defending his title for the third time. He defended it brilliantly against Jermaine Taylor on the road in Connecticut. Then defeated Andre Durrell, split decision in Nottingham, England. Some feel that Durrell won that fight.
Yeah, it was real close. It could have went either way. But, you know, like you said, he was at home in Nottingham, and he pulled it out. He held on to his championship.
This fight has an interesting dynamic here in these first two rounds. It's Froch constantly moving and going backward, and Kessler attacking, and both men are landing significant punches.
Yes, the jab serving both fighters well. But what it seems like to me with Kessler is that he's been very aggressive right now. He's putting the pressure on Froch.
Now some redness on the bridge of the nose of Carl Froch. Froch very quirky in terms of how he approaches his fighting. His hands are down. He punches from different angles. He can go backwards and forwards. Very proud of the development of his style based on being a European fighter. He fights more like the Americans.
Yes, he does, in a lot of ways. But when I look at Froch, I see no thrills, no frills. I mean, the guy seems to be as basic as they come, but he's just a winner.
Kessler trying to put a combination together, and that's the end of the second round.
Listen, Mikkel, you just started doing the right things now. You're a little more aggressive, and I don't. You've got sides on him behind that jab and right hand and shoot hooks. Don't leave. Give me those Vaseline. I'll let you do this round. I want you to
Kessler right hand gets in right toward the end of the round, and then Froch is able to come with his own right hand. This fight boils down to which one is going to land the biggest of the right hands. And again, there's Kessler trying to get that punch in. The jabs by both men are meant to set up those big right hands. Who will get there first and most powerfully with it?
Round 3 for the WBC Super Middleweight World title here in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Mikkel Kessler in white, the challenger. Carl Froch, the champion, in the black trunks. Kessler suffered the worst defeat of his career with that 11th round technical decision loss to former U.S. Olympic gold medalist Andre Ward, which cost him the WBA Super Middleweight belt.
Stylistically, we thought this matchup would end up being an intriguing one, and so far it shows some evidence of that. Both men able to land, both men able using very similar weapons, and they're kind of mirror images of each other right now.
Kessler with very tight defense. He's been the stalker from the very beginning. Froch fighting, backing up. Now Kessler trying to go to the body. What's the body work doing for Mikkel Kessler?
Well, he's investing right now. He's putting money in the bank because that was a great straight right hand to the body. Very powerful shot. The body shots weaken your legs. It zaps you of your strength and your energy. So that's why if the fight goes late, he'll be able to have Carl Froch immobilized, basically.
You know, Kessler's a fighter who's had injuries to his back, to his elbow, to his hands, and there was the worry that maybe he was a fighter that was growing old and injuries were starting to take their toll on him. He's shown a lot of zeal early in this fight, and physically he's got a lot of pep in this fight, and that's what he wanted to show.
Aside from his loss to Andre Ward, his only other loss in his career coming to the great Joe Calzaghe.
Yeah, certainly no shame there, that's for sure. One of the best super middleweights of all time.
Come on, let's go.
In round 2, as here in round 3, Kessler's been more active than Froch, and that's possibly what might be winning him this round like the last one.
Yeah, but it seems as if Froch's getting a little closer. He landed a good right hand earlier in the round. But Al, you mentioned with Kessler maybe getting old. A year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, Mikkel Kessler had one of the best 1-2 combination punches that you want to see. Now it seems like he's pushing that right hand. He's not zipping it right behind the right hand.
That's a really good point.
26 seconds remaining in the third round, scheduled for 12 from the MCH Center in Herning, Denmark. Site of the WBC Super Middleweight World title between Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Round 3 coming to an end. Pretty even so far. Now you can follow the Super 6 World Boxing Classic in a new interactive way by playing our bracket challenge game on sports.show.com. Fill out your own bracket and pick the champion as the tournament progresses. Compete with others for points based on correct predictions and enter the sweepstakes for a chance to win a trip for 4 to the Super 6 Championship in 2011. Go to sports.show.com and start playing now.
Keep doing it, all right?
All I want you to do is be yourself, Mikkel. You're too good. He misses you and you let him get away. You're hitting the body nice, but I want you to start doing combinations. The jab is not only one jab.
Gus Johnson, Al Bernstein,
you get a 45,
the champ Antonio Tarver. Close fight so far, gentlemen.
It really is, and part of it is because both men have been very active, and both men using many of the same weapons and being effective in spots.
Kessler, Froch come out for the 4th round. And notice Carl Froch, he likes to keep his hands down low, enticing his opponents into thinking he's easy prey, and then he really can set up his punches this way. Now he's using the shoulder for defense, trying to defend the jab.
Yeah, I think his movement more so is his defense, but he just throws that jab from any angle. There's several ways that you can deliver a jab, and right now he's bringing it from the bottom.
Kessler in white, Froch in black. Kessler, by virtue of his first round loss on the road to Andre Ward, is pointless. Carl Froch beating Andre Durrell, split decision, has an opportunity with the win here to become the points leader and also advance to the semifinals. If he wins, he will advance.
Point to remember is that Carl Froch is a notoriously slow starter in fights. And we saw it against Jermaine Taylor. We've seen it in other fights. So as we head into these middle rounds, we would expect him to pick up the pace a bit even more.
Froch telling us that he will win and defend his title by any means necessary. Therefore, we've seen sometimes he doesn't have the skill level. Oh, beautiful right hand by Froch, right on the button of Kessler. But sometimes, in terms of the speed, he doesn't have it, but his heart and determination and fortitude, incredible.
And sometimes that's all it takes. You know, when a more skillful naturally gifted athlete fights a guy that has the guts like Carl Froch, sometimes that athleticism goes out the window because his heart is just bigger.
Now Carl Froch starting to gain confidence. His punch is starting to find Kessler here in the fourth round.
An active fourth round. Both men landed good shots, but Froch landed a big uppercut a moment ago. It's a great punch for him. We didn't see it in the Durrell fight at all.
That Mikkel Kessler jab is still working, and it is very effective. And it's a lost art. I don't know why I don't even do it myself. They can counter over top of that jab, either one of their jabs with the right hand. It's a risky move, but it does pay dividends.
Froch coming in wild. He may have caught a right hand, a looping right hand by Kessler. Raising the top of his head. Now Kessler with the left hook that gets in. Kessler starting to step up the tempo. Punching with more aggression as now he steps off, and that's the end of the fourth.
Out the way now. Okay, have a drink, put your legs out. Ice bag on his head. Listen, put your legs out, deep breath. Listen. Just like that. Yeah. Don't hold your feet. Sort it out. Don't hold your feet. You listen. Don't hold your feet because he'll punch down the middle. Okay. We've got to be busier with the jab and the right hand and the movement now. Okay. Do you understand me? Jab, right hand, left up movement. All right. Have a drink. If you hold your feet, he'll just punch.
Robert McCracken giving that advice to Carl Froch. Froch landed this freight train right hand. The best he's landed in this fight. Kessler was able to withstand it. That and a big uppercut later in the round.
What does hold your feet mean?
I have to think that means hold your position. I mean, don't allow this guy to dictate position to you in the ring. If he wants to back you up, don't allow him to.
We'd like to thank Viasat for this coverage coming from Denmark. Gus Johnson, Al Bernstein, the Magic Man, four-time world champion Antonio Tarver with us. The Super 6 World Boxing Classic, round 5, scheduled for 12 for the WBC Super Middleweight title here at the Super 6 World Boxing Classic.
You can feel the pace picking up, and here's the wild card. It's the left hook, and there it is by Froch. Both men are starting to throw left hooks. Froch has got there first.
And Froch even told us, Al, that he is not necessarily impressed with his own left hook.
And neither is Kessler's at his major punch. But I thought that punch was going to come in play, and it did just when I was saying it.
Kessler is reaching him with the 1-2 to the body. I think he needs to bring that up top now.
We know both men are good right-handed punchers. We saw a good one. But now Froch has introduced the left hook to the equation.
Kessler still jabbing to the body. Now the right hand to the body. Goes up top, barely misses. So there is a method to the madness. You're seeing Jimmy Montoya, his new trainer, and what he's doing. But a looping right hand by Carl Froch, and Kessler's down. But did he slip? They're calling this a slip.
That's intriguing. I thought there might be a right hand in there that sent him down. We'll see if he's hurt.
Froch is landing some big punches right now. He's countering Kessler. Kessler is leaning back. He's available for anything. He needs to take a step to the side and give Carl Froch some angles.
It's a really good point.
Remember, none of the fighters in the Super 6 have won on the road, and right now Carl Froch is making a very good case for himself here in the 5th round.
This is by far the best round either fighter has had in this fight.
Al, the confidence of Carl Froch.
Yeah,
it's something that's very interesting to watch.
It really is. He just doesn't believe he can lose. And the bigger question now is, will round 5 put seeds of doubt in the mind of Kessler? We'll see.
Oh, another crushing right hand by Froch. So relaxed, and that backed up Mikkel Kessler. Now Froch moving in. Kessler looks woozy. Kessler trying to deliver. The can-opening right hand, inviting him into the party.
Again, Kessler is still leaning back. He needs to really get low as Froch is coming in.
Best round of the fight so far, gentlemen.
Listen, you're hurting him, you're breaking him down now. Don't throw it.
Listen, give me the one. Put that on. Get his nose. Get his nose. Okay, listen, you're not listening to me, Mikkel. You're doing your own little thing. Pull it out. You know what I mean? Don't do what I tell you. Can't you hear me? You're staying in the middle. You're backing up.
Okay. Here is where a right hand kind of glanced, the left hook. No punch did land. They tangled their feet, and referee Griffin made exactly the right call. That was not a knockdown. But that freight train right hand by Froch pushed Kessler back. It was one of many right hands that were landed in that round by Carl Froch.
And right now, Jimmy Montoya telling Kessler that he's backing straight back and he's not listening.
And that's exactly what I was saying. And when you back straight back, you leave your head up, and your neck is right there on a swivel. You need to duck or either bend your body left or right in angles.
Kessler coming out, landing a right hand to start the 6th round. Now Kessler establishing his jab as well. But Froch just so relaxed, not pressed about anything from Kessler.
Kessler made the point that everybody makes when they see Carl Froch, that his hand speed is not impressive. Froch very, very sensitive to that. But I wonder now that they're in the ring if Kessler feels a little differently.
Well, he's definitely able to reach him. And what I would hate to watch tape of a guy like Froch, because you think this guy can't beat me. But when you get in the ring, it's a total different thing. He's so elusive in a really unorthodox way.
Froch now looking more and more as his career progresses, even at 32 years old. Although he doesn't have the quickest hands, but a very sharp and accurate puncher.
Yeah, and a moment ago we saw some signs of good defense by him. Kessler threw a good series of combinations and Froch was able to slip them. Kessler's being very aggressive in this round, and there's the hook, but he just can't land something dramatic.
And like in the Andre Ward fight, Kessler having a hard time getting that extra 6 inches closer to Carl Froch.
And you know what? His trainer Montoya needs to tell him it's time for him to make adjustments. He's been doing this for the first 4 or 5 rounds. It was working somewhat in the beginning, but if he wants to win this fight and dominate his fashion, he got to do something different.
Now he backs Froch up to the ropes, and Froch will tie him up.
To some degree, that's something different is the combination punching, which he is trying now, but he just hasn't been able to land them as effectively as he would like.
Round 6 scheduled for 12 here at the MCH Center in Herning, Denmark. This for the WBC Super Middleweight World Title. The champion is in the black trunks, Carl Froch. The challenger and former WBA champ, Mikkel Kessler, is in the white. Good solid jab by Kessler. "15 seconds to go here in the 6th round. A lot on the line for both of these gentlemen. And that's the end of the round.
You work hard for the goddamn thing. Because you're waiting for him and you're letting him throw it. I'm telling you now, every time you catch this... But you're doing... You got things, you're moving back and you're waiting too long. Don't let him bullshit you with it. You know, you do what you want to do. Just keep your hands out. You're dropping your hands. Rub his arm. And then go with your hooks and uppercuts. Okay? You listening?
Right.
Look, listen to me. Don't let him con you out of this, okay? You've got to be sharper with a jab and right hand, but you've got to double up your attacks now. And as soon as you make
big right hand by Mikkel Kessler that got in there because Froch left his hands low. There were moments in that last round where Kessler was able to land effectively, but you see the countering by Froch. And for Kessler, when he exposes himself, sometimes it's an issue, but not when he lands those sharp right hands.
Round 7 scheduled for 12. And Al, how do you have this fight scored so far?
I've got Froch leading 58-56, but I believe it could be dead even, and many of those rounds are very close, and let's factor in where they're fighting.
And I agree with Al. The fight is definitely close. Both fighters have had some moments. I just feel that Froch is able to counter Kessler because he's standing straight there after he gets done working.
And we've seen both men land really, really good right hands, and neither has been dramatically hurt by the punch, although maybe Kessler was stunned a few rounds ago.
No, I thought he took those right hands well. And right before this, Kessler came over top of Froch's jab hand with his right hand, and I think that punch will work for him.
And there's another one by Kessler a moment ago.
Froch using the jab like a whip just to keep Kessler on the outside. Kessler has been trying to figure out how to get inside that jab. Going to the body for most of this fight with jabs and right hands. Mikkel Kessler, and every now and then, like that time, landing a short left hook.
You know, this has been a good beginning, first half of the 7th round for Mikkel Kessler. At a time when he needed, I think, something to boost his confidence a bit, and he's had it here in this minute and a half. And Froch really slowing his offensive pace now. And he better be careful about that because he talked about not wanting to let this go to the scorecards.
Yeah, and with these rounds being so close, you never know. I mean, and let's not forget, he's in Denmark.
And in this round, perfect example, Kessler being very effective with those good jabs and everything else.
Carl Froch, as you mentioned, Al, has been a fighter that prides himself on being able to come back late in fights. That's when he'll catch a second win, and that's when you'll quite often see his best. Blood now on the face of Mikkel Kessler, on his trunks as well. Kessler cut during the Andre Ward fight, so he has been prone to cuts and bleeding.
I didn't see any a significant blow that would have caused a cut, so we'll have to stay tuned and see how the referee scores it.
Oh, big right hand by Kessler. Froch says it hit him on the back of the head. Now Kessler moving in. He's gaining confidence. Kessler loading up on his punches now, and that's the end of the 7th round. A very good round for Mikkel Kessler, fighting in his homeland of Herning, Denmark.
Good. I want you to relax. Listen to me. I don't want you in the middle, and I don't want you. I want you to start putting those combinations together. You're not tired. No. All right, baby. Give me some action. Just think and put your combinations together. When you're close, I want you to fight him. Doesn't know how to fight inside.
Mikkel Kessler had himself a very good round in the last round. Landing shots, throwing lots of combinations. That jab very strong by Kessler. His left hook, he's not throwing as well as he normally does. That's the punch that Froch complained about toward the end of the round. Rachel, the girlfriend of Carl Froch, you saw her a moment ago. And by the way, they've announced that she is going to have a baby. So Carl Froch is going to be a dad.
So even more on the line for Carl Froch, fighting in front of Rachel, knowing that he has a child on the way here in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, his WBC super middleweight title. on the line. Froch trying to defend it for the third time in the black trunks against the challenger and former WBA champion, Mikkel Kessler. And in the corner, Mikkel Kessler's trainer, Jimmy Montoya, telling him, "You're not tired. Give me some action. I want you to fight him now for these rounds."
And here's where Jimmy Montoya and Antonio and I discussed this. He's a motivator. And here's the way Mikkel Kessler can win this fight, by throwing lots of punches, being aggressive, and having the will to do it. That's exactly what Jimmy Montoya is trying to get him to do.
And he's pressing right now. He's throwing that big hoop, that big looping hook, and he's keeping the aggression up, and that's great. One thing Carl Froch didn't want to do is allow this crowd to be a factor.
And Al, Carl Froch's punch production is starting to go down. He doesn't look as busy as we saw him earlier.
Yeah, and it usually goes the other way for him. Here we are in round 8. Normally he's picking up the pace.
And he's reaching with a lot of those punches. He's off balance. I mean, he needs to tighten up his offense right now if he's going to take this fight from Kessler right now, because Kessler is gaining momentum.
Yeah, I have it very close. I've got Froch still ahead by 1 point, but it could easily be a different set of scores by the judges at this juncture.
Boy, do we know that.
Yeah, I think we've seen that once or twice, haven't we?
Pay attention. Carl Froch hasn't thrown his right hand in quite some time. He's been using the jab, the hook, throwing it under and over, but the right hand is something that during this round we haven't been seeing him use.
That's a real, oh my!
Nice staggering right hand by Kessler, and Froch is hurt. Froch's legs wobbling. Froch trying to clear his head, blinking his eyes, now keeping his hands up. Kessler, can he finish him? Froch knocked down only one time in his entire career against Jermaine Taylor in his first title defense. Froch, blood now on the bridge of his nose. Kessler putting his punches together.
Gus, that could mean a broken nose with that straight right hand. It was nice, it was short, and it was picture perfect.
No snap on Froch's punches. 14 seconds to go. Kessler going downstairs. And a cut on the bridge of the nose of Carl Froch. As we come to the end of the 8th round. What a round for Mikkel Kessler.
He just runs in, it's just the mark on your nose, it's nothing, okay? Open your mouth, open your mouth.
And here's a man, Mikkel Kessler, that comes into this fight desperate. He knew that he would have to come in with a sense of urgency.
You know, one thing about being a champion, a real mark of a champion, is how you come back from defeat.
And we see here the short right hand by Kessler. Froch came in and squared himself off, which he talked about in the keys to victory. When he does that, he's available for the right hand by Kessler. And there it landed. He left himself wide open, and Kessler, who is a natural counterpuncher, took advantage of that.
Box that way through it, all right? Relax, calm down. Once in a while, move to the right, now I want the right hand.
Rinse this mouthpiece for me.
That bomb is working for you. When you get the chance, take the shot. I want plenty of head movement, plenty of glove defense.
Some concern on Rachel's face as she is in the distinct minority in this crowd, and she is watching her man in some anxious moments.
This is the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. The WBC Super Middleweight World title on the line here at the MCH Center in Herning, Denmark. The champion, Carl Froch from Nottingham, England, is in black. The challenger, Mikkel Kessler, fighting at home in the white trunks. Kessler starting to come on as we start the 9th round.
And one of the interesting things, and this is what makes this tournament and this fight dramatic, is we know Carl Froch is capable of last-minute heroics. We saw it against Jermaine Taylor. So that's what sets this up, I think, as a very interesting scenario, even with Kessler doing so well here.
Froch with a cut on the bridge of the nose, blinking his eyes almost as if he's still trying to clear his head after that Kessler short right hand in the 8th round.
And of course, that Jermaine Taylor fight, not a part of our tournament. It happened just before it, but it demonstrates what Froch is capable of.
And I'm going to go on record and say that I'm pretty sure that his nose right now is broken. It looks like it's shattered almost, and that might cause the bridge of his nose to swell up, where it might cause a problem with him breathing if this fight goes further.
Now in this round, Froch has gotten his jab out of mothballs, and he's tried the uppercut a few more times, which is a very good punch for him, but doesn't land all the time. And there, you see Froch being more aggressive.
A lot of slapping, though, by Carl Froch, not really turning his punches over like he did earlier in the fight. And there's the slow hands, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that was the right hand that Kessler can counterpunch at any given time.
Kessler very sharp. Defense still tight. The body attack has worked for him this evening, Al.
Yeah, Kessler has gone very well downstairs, and that may be part of what slowed Froch down in this fight.
See that winging right hand? That's not normally the type of punch that you see coming from Kessler. I don't know where that's coming from. He needs to get back sharp like he was a year and a half ago.
He's a slightly different fighter. You're absolutely right about that. Not quite as precise.
Mikkel Kessler taking more chances, showing that he wants to continue.
There's that
his
right
career.
hand.
There it is.
Excuse me, Gus. That's a right hand, that a counter punch from Kessler, that when he comes in, when he squares himself up, Froch, Kessler can land.
And it's real sneaky because Froch seems to have his head down and he can't see that punch.
Left uppercut landing for Kessler. Now a left hook landing for Froch. Double left hook landing for Froch.
Kessler can counterpunch Froch when he's up in the air like that, throwing those punches with a left hook, but he has to be short and sweet with it.
Wow.
And that's the end of the 9th round.
Listen, be smart now. Listen, he'll try and box with you for a minute now. You've got to be smart, but you've got to apply the pressure. 1-2 hooks, double jab right hands, and then short when you're there. Deep breaths, okay? Got a bad cut. Yeah, really bad, but you've got to work this kid now. I know, but Carl, they're going to help him out. You've got to work.
They work. Relax, relax. That's a head mark.
You do him every time.
You
Carl,
see,
do me a favor,
as we head
this
into
is
these
there for the
championship
winning now.
rounds,
Do not
Froch
let
being
him
very
come
aggressive in that last round. The first portion of the round, a very good round for him, as evidenced by those jabs, but Kessler's still landing good counter punches.
Don't let him con you.
And when he comes in squared up, Kessler lands some right hands.
And our Steve Farhood checked with the Froch corner. The nose is not broken, but he does have a severe cut on the bridge of the nose. Round number 10, scheduled for 12 for the WBC Super Middleweight World title here at the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. Carl Froch, the champion in black. Mikkel Kessler, former champion and challenger in white.
That was a pivotal, oh wow, that left hook by Kessler, a strong one. Pivotal round in that last round because it was so close, and who the judges give it to could go a long way toward determining who wins this fight.
You're exactly right, Al. And in the fighters meeting, Kessler told us that Froch throws his punches to him so slow that he can see everything. So he's really not concerned about getting hit with that punch that he can't see when you're fighting a faster, quicker opponent.
Kessler has been the aggressor from the very beginning. Froch fighting off his back foot, but that's his style as well. We haven't seen Froch, who has shown an ability to fight going forward, do that in this one against Mikkel Kessler.
It's a lot of blood on Mikkel Kessler's face right now. Don't know exactly where it's coming from. I think one of those cuts may have reopened from the Andre Ward fight.
Looks like this cut is above the left eye of Kessler.
Big right hand a moment ago by Carl Froch. Now they're starting to exchange some good right hands, both men. Again, a close round here in this round.
Froch looks like he's now starting to find his rhythm again. As we told you, he is very good in the late rounds. Oh, there's a sneaky left hand by Carl Froch.
And that was a slick move that he just did because Kessler thought he was out of range, and Froch came back with a straight left at that time.
Under a minute to go in the 10th round, scheduled for 12. Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler. Carl Froch still blinking his eyes.
Carl Froch is 4-0 in 12-round fights, and Kessler is 2-1. And then there was the Jermaine Taylor fight where he won it in the 12th round. Froch.
Kessler's reaching right now and is giving Carl Froch some opportunities. Carl looked like he picked up the pace here. He's letting his hand go, and this is the type of gut and will that we talked about earlier that makes him a unique champion.
Froch hands all the way down now. Throwing wild punches. He misses with the up jab and the right hand. And that's the end of the 10th round.
Put water on him before, not on his head though.
You gotta put some tape on this glove.
Look up. Big hand. Get with it. Get with it. You can't puck around. You gotta put the sticks together.
He'll come back at you. You're making him miss, and you're letting him off. You got to go to him and
With
put the
that
shots
cut,
on him.
now an issue over the left eye of Kessler. He came out roaring and landed some big shots in that combination. But Carl Froch, during the course of that round, had good moments himself, including that sneaky left hand where he squared himself up, but then was still able to come with that left hand.
Round number 11, scheduled for 12 championship rounds from the MCH Center in Herning, Denmark. Carl Froch, the champion, in black. Mikkel Kessler, the challenger, in the white trunks. And for Kessler, the question coming into this fight, which version of Kessler would show up? Could he rebound from that psychological pasting he took from Andre Ward against a very determined and confident and undefeated champion in Carl Froch?
Kessler's doing something great right now. He's putting more than 2 punches together. He just threw a 3-punch combination in succession.
Close fight to call so far.
And this is the kind of razor-thin fight that probably Froch didn't want to have on foreign soil. But that's what he has, and both these men looking to close the show and try and get this decision.
I see a lot of little subtle intangibles that I now can see that makes Froch such a hard, really a hard puzzle to solve. I mean, he has the movement, great counterpuncher, just landing a big right hand.
And Kessler looks a little wobbly. Kessler lands a left hook of his own now. Kessler, busy hands, misses with most of those punches as Froch steps up.
Both men, it's a firefight now. They're both leaving themselves wide open. That really favors Froch, in my opinion, at this moment.
Oh, looping right hand followed by a left hook by Kessler. And that backed up Froch. Both men exhausted.
Well, we haven't had a war yet in this tournament. We're getting one now.
Yes, we are.
Wow.
Now Froch coming back, punching through Kessler's guard.
You know, coming into this fight, Gus, I wanted to see, could Kessler really have the mental strength and the intestinal fortitude to go through a tough fight? My hat's off to him. He's fighting his butt off tonight.
30 seconds to go in the 11th round, scheduled for 12. Carl Froch in black, Mikkel Kessler in the white trunks. This for the WBC super middleweight title of the world. In the hometown, or the home country of Mikkel Kessler, Herning, Denmark. And Froch with a left-right combination to end the round. Kessler slapping. And what a fight it's been.
Go score those rounds, will you? Oh, wait, I have to do that.
Yes,
and so do the judges.
Deep breath.
Mikkel, you want this fucking title? Go get the son of a bitch.
You have to get it.
You know
right movement, okay?
Walking back.
You're going backwards.
On the side.
And you're waiting for him.
And there is Mikkel Kessler early in the round putting combinations together against Carl Froch. Froch would come back a little later in the round himself, and these are some of the great combinations he landed. Both men were effective in that last round, and man, you can flip a coin as to the last 2 rounds for these fighters.
Al, going into this final round, how do you have this thing scored thus far?
As we looked at Rachel being just a little worried for her man, and rightfully so, guess what? I have this fight a draw.
So here we go, folks. This, the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, the WBC Super Middleweight World Title on the line, and it could come down to this final round. Froch in black, Kessler in white. Froch the champion. Jimmy Montoya, Kessler's trainer, telling him between rounds, go get the title. If you want it, go get it now.
And that's where Jimmy Montoya is at his best, because he knows that for Mikkel Kessler, the bottom line in this fight is go out, throw lots of punches, and try and get yourself a win in this round. He did caution him, though. You've got to still try and move side to side, which he's doing there. Don't go straight back.
Yes.
So there was technical advice.
That was Froch doubling up the jab. Meanwhile, Kessler with the double jab and a right hand that lands on the chin of Froch. Both these fighters have given their all from the very beginning of this one. It's been an ebb and flow fight so far. No knockdowns in this fight. One slip by Kessler as he went to the canvas.
You know, Froch is a guy with, that loves the dramatic. I mean, he's sitting here now throwing caution to the wind. He's pot-shotting, trying to land that one last big blow that'll change the tide in this fight.
Although Kessler, he's been more active. Combination punches. He's got a mean cut over his left eye. Now Kessler moving in. Montoya told him to take it if he wants it. Here's Kessler. Froch answering. Both fighters missing. All heart and courage right now for these 2 gentlemen. In the center of the ring, toe-to-toe. Nice left hook by Froch. Backs up Kessler. Another left hook by Froch. Kessler going to the body. Under a minute to go. Look at him. Toe-to-toe. Man-to-man. Kessler with Froch on the ropes. Now Froch fights off the ropes. A world title on the line. The WBC Super Middleweight belt will be determined in the next 30 seconds. Kessler backing up now. And he'll tie up Carl Froch with 27 seconds remaining. Kessler fighting for his Super 6 life. Right hand landing by Froch, who's cut under his over his left eye. Look at these 2 gentlemen go at it. Froch and Kessler, 10 seconds to go. Talk about laying it all on the line. What a fight here in Denmark. 5 seconds, right hand, left hook, Kessler, and that's it. The Super 6 World Boxing Classic, folks, just got hot.
We waited, with all the drama and all the things that have happened in this tournament, what we were also waiting for was a war. That's what we got here tonight. Went right down to the wire, and this will be a tough one to call.
For both fighters, you gotta really understand what the Super 6 championship means to these fighters. It's bigger than a championship belt. They laid it all on the line. Mikkel Kessler came back like a true champion that he is. Froch fought his heart out. I can't wait to see the decision.
Neither can all these folks and this man, too.
Both fighters cut. Kessler over the left eye. Froch on the bridge of the nose and over the left eye. And that 12th round, gentlemen, incredible display of heart.
It wasn't perfection in terms of technique, Well, when you get to the 12th round after a fight like this, who cares? It was wild.
It was. It's my choice for early fight of the year. I'm going on record saying that.
The 12th round special, as Gus pointed out, both men laying it on the line. A slapping left hook by Kessler's. Froch has got there with more intensity and power. If there was a difference in that round, I think it was probably Froch was more powerful with some of his punches. But there's the Kessler left hook. It became a factor during part of that round. Just a great 12th round of action.
So remember, the champion, Carl Froch, 26-0, undefeated. Now let's go inside the ring. As we look into the eyes of the champion, Rachel Cordingley, his pregnant girlfriend, and the challenger, Mikkel Kessler, fighting at home here at the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. The fighters fighting at home have defended their home cities each and every time. 4 for 4. Now we're waiting for them to tabulate the cards. Jimmy Montoya, boy, did he make a difference. I know it must have been very difficult for Mikkel Kessler to fire Richard Olson, his trainer of 18 years.
Who was like a father to him. And what he got out of Jimmy Montoya was that fire in the middle of this fight, and that's what he really wanted from him. Both men have to be proud of their efforts at this juncture.
You're right, Al. And, you know, it took Kessler to believe in Montoya in order to get through, and boy, did he get through tonight.
So normally when it takes a long time to tabulate the scorecards, it always gets interesting. Carl Froch, appreciative. What a performance by him. You know, as this tournament goes on, as I get a chance to watch Carl Froch, I just develop more and more respect for the Cobra.
The Cobra.
And there's a little respect between these two men for each other as well, Gus, as you can see. They knew they produced a wonderful, wonderful boxing match.
And once again, Al, styles make fights. I knew coming in that this wouldn't be one of those chess matches that they would lay it on the line. And boy, did we get what we wanted tonight.
And so much at stake here as we await this decision. For Kessler, it would throw this tournament into a just disarray, if you will, but make it so much fun because almost everybody would be bunched together. And if Froch could win this, of course, it would guarantee him a spot in the semifinals.
Very interesting how long it's taking, very suspenseful to tabulate the scorecards. And Al, you've been doing this for a long time. What normally happens when it takes this long?
Well, you know, they want to make sure that these scorecards are right. Guido Cavalieri, Roger Tarleman, and Daniel Deville, the judges, 2 from Belgium, 1 from Italy, they want to make sure they have this right. And that sometimes it's just that you just want to really, really be careful that you have it correct.
Well, either way it goes, this was a close fight, to say the least. I mean, it had to be close.
It should be. And I have Froch winning by 1 point. But wow, you can certainly make a strong case for Mikkel Kessler, and you look back at those rounds.
I have Kessler winning this fight. I mean, he controlled and dictated the pace. Froch had a lot of moments, but I feel that Kessler should be awarded a very, very close decision.
And you can make a strong case for that. You know, you could send this fight in either direction. And I don't think anybody would argue either way.
Right.
Mikkel Kessler trying to revive his career. And we have the decision. Let's go inside the ring. Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Roger Tillman scores the bout 117 to 111. Judge Guido Cavalieri scores the bout 115 to 113. Judge Daniel Vanderveel sees the bout 116 to 112. All three in favor of the winner and the new WBC super middleweight champion of the world, the Viking Warrior, Mikkel Kessler.
The home fighter holds serve once again in the Super 6. Mikkel Kessler, a unanimous decision over Carl Froch as he takes the WBC super middleweight belt, giving Froch the first loss of his career. And in a few moments, we'll have an interview with Steve Farhood. He'll talk to both fighters in the ring. Let's see how the scoring went for Froch versus Kessler.
In the official scoring, Guido Cavalieri of Italy had it the closest at 115-113. The two Belgium judges, Roger Tillman and Daniel Vanderveel, had much bigger margins for Kessler. You could make a strong case for Kessler winning this fight, but maybe the margin would be in question in some people's minds. Now, looking at the press row scoring, we see that Michael Engard from a Danish newspaper had Kessler by 3 points, but Niall Hickman from the Daily Express in England had 116-115, as I had it scored for Froch, and Arne Leinberg from a German newspaper had Froch winning by 2 points.
Wow, very interesting. The press with Froch winning this fight on the road. So after tonight, here are the updated Super 6 World Boxing Classic standings.
And we can see how everything is bunched up. Only Alan Green, who has not yet had a chance to win any points, doesn't have anybody. Everybody who's fought within 1 point of each other.
Now let's go back to Denmark and our Steve Farhood.
Mikkel, congratulations on a fantastic effort. How much of your motivation was desperation? Being what happened in the Ward fight.
Yeah, of course, it was a lot of, in the Ward fight, I was a lot of desperate, and it was my night then. Ward fought a great fight, and but I know I'm better. I had a lot of experts in Denmark that saying I couldn't win over Froch. I was finished, my career was finished, so it's nice to get my old belt back and show them that I'm still the champ, and I'm ready to fight Ward again.
Welcome to the Super 6 tournament, because you are a factor now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mikkel, we're used to seeing you as more of a counterpuncher. From the beginning of this fight, you attacked him and you backed him up. Was that the plan, or did it just turn out that way?
Yeah, it wasn't. I saw a lot of his fights, Carl, and he's not so good fighting backwards, but he's a physical, strong fighter, and in the start of the fight, I heard him sometime with a straight right hand to the body, and that took a lot of breath from him, and also the mentality of the first round. So I just keep on doing it, and then he fought my fight instead of I'm fighting his fight.
We know that now the hometown fighter in the tournament has 5 wins, no losses. How much of a factor was the crowd to you and fighting at home?
Oh, I got a great crowd here in Denmark. Unbelievable, you know, 10-12,000 people, and unbelievable. And it always helps you. Like it helps me 10%. I don't know about the other fighters, but I feel that I can do more, and I'm not getting tired so quick.
That's a very bad cut. Jimmy's towel is all bloody. Obviously you bled from the butts in the Ward fight. Is this now a major concern for you?
Yeah, you know, you know, in my last 2 fights, I'm starting to look like a fighter. So
no more modeling?
No, I've never been modeled, but you know, it's. But I better be careful. I think I don't know when it came. I thought it was with a straight left actually. So I have to be careful of the cuts. I have to move my head some more. And when you get a cut, it's just something saying to you that you gotta move your head and get away from the punches some more.
Alan Green next for you. Now you have 2 points in the tournament. You can fight to make the semifinals. What are your thoughts about Alan Green?
Alan Green, I haven't really watched so much of him, but he's a great fighter. What I've seen, so I'm looking forward for a great fight with Alan Green.
Mikkel, congratulations for a great fight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Carl Froch, if you would. Carl, first of all, yesterday we spoke about the hometown fighter winning every fight, and you said to me the right fighter won every fight.
Yeah.
Did the right fighter win this fight?
I thought I did enough. I've got to be honest. I thought I had him hurt a couple of, well, I did have him hurt 2 or 3 times. I think it was 3 times I had him badly hurt. And, you know, it's my own fault if I'd have sustained the attack and put it on him more instead of giving him probably a little bit too much respect. But he deserves respect. He's a good fighter. If I'd have put it on him more and sustained the attack, I would have definitely got him out of there. And that's something nobody else has ever done.
Right.
Well, I didn't do it, so I can't say that I was going to do it, but I feel I could have got him out of there. He was hurt, he was wobbled. I just didn't sustain it. I sat back a little bit, got back behind the jab. I saw the cut open up, and I thought, I'll work that nicely, but it was a little bit too late on.
Around round 7 or 8, it seems you got tired. Now, you got a second wind, and the two of you really fought ferociously until the finish. But did you get fatigued in the middle rounds there?
I think it was in my head more than anything. I felt like I was fatigued, yeah, but as soon as I started putting the shots together and started biting down on my gum shield, I felt like I was back in it, like I had my second wind. But, you know, I've had a lot of messing around on the run-up to this fight. In my mind, the fight was cancelled. Twice, maybe 3 times. The fight was off. Yeah. And I just switched off a little bit mentally. And it wasn't until tonight when I got to the arena that I switched on and thought, you know what, I've got a fight on my hands, I'm fighting. And that maybe just took the focus away slightly. But no excuses, you know.
You could live with the decision. It's the first loss of your career. You said you thought you did enough. But would you call it, in your mind, a robbery or no?
It was very close. I don't want to take anything away from Mikkel Kessler, but if that was in Nottingham, if that was in my hometown, the decision would have gone the other way, same score. So, you know, there'll be a lot of people out there that say it was a robbery. There'll be a lot of people that say he won. It's subjective. Boxing is subjective scoring. It can go either way, depending on how you look at the fight. I felt like I'd won the fight. If I felt like I'd lost, if I felt like I'd took too many shots, and I felt like I was out of there, I would admit it and say, look, I thought I'd lost, but you know, to give it 117, 111, one of the scorecards, I don't know which judge that was. It's just too wide a margin. There was never going to give me the fight.
There are no easy fights in this tournament. We know that. You have Arthur Abraham next, a big test, and you might be fighting to try to get to the semifinals. Your thoughts about that and your thoughts about fighting Abraham, another European?
Yeah, Abraham's a great fighter, very strong and tough. I feel I'll have too much for him. I'd have learned a lot from that fight there with Mikkel Kessler. I know where certain things of the fight went wrong, and I know exactly what I need to do to beat off Abraham. But the tournament's hotting up. What a great tournament. It's getting great. Yeah. Mikkel's still in the tournament. It was very, very close. Like I said, I thought I'd done enough, but that's boxing, and it's boxing at an elite level. It's a top level boxing. And you know, this fight is going to win, lose, and draw, and we're all still in it there, you know.
Fantastic effort, Carl Froch. Gus, we'll throw it back to you in New York.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Joined by Al Bernstein and the Magic Man, Antonio Tarver. What a fight, especially the 11th and 12th rounds. Al, anybody's tournament now.
It really is. And we talked earlier about perception and how it changes so quickly in this term. Well, the perception by some people about Mikkel Kessler after his loss to Ward was he was a fighter maybe on his way out. Well, tonight he showed, if not with a perfect technical performance, but with grit and determination, that he is not a fighter on the way out. He's back in his tournament.
Very interesting. Mikkel Kessler loses his WBA title in his last fight to Andre Ward. He comes back in his next fight and wins the WBC title against Carl Froch at home. That's what makes this tournament very special. And the home cooking, something that you talked about at the top of the broadcast, 5 for 5 home fighters.
Yeah, it's like nothing greater than fighting in front of all your loved ones, all the people that you see around the city, and you feel that support. It's really giving these guys a boost when they're getting tired or when they're getting mentally fatigued. It's like the third man in the ring. It's really seeing them through. And it says something about the Andre Ward fight in Oakland. I mean, he has the opportunity to fight twice in his hometown. Alan Green has to come in and set the standard. He's going to have to step his game way up. A fighter that has never fought in the championship, and he's right in there against Andre Ward.
And speaking of Andre Ward, we've been looking for a fighter, and that fight will take place on June 19th. We'll be looking for a fighter here at the Super 6 to take control, and Andre Ward, as the champ alluded to, has that opportunity, and that's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, he does have the opportunity, but if we've learned anything so far, it's that you can't assume that's going to happen, and that's what Alan Green brings to this tournament, a completely fresh face. We don't know which Alan Green's going to show up, but, man, he brings the power.
No doubt about it. Al, as always, thank you so much, champ. Continue to improve. Congratulations on another great night. And the Super 6 World Boxing Classic continues to heat up here on Showtime. The third fight of Group Stage 2, as we mentioned, is Saturday, June 19th, as WBA champion Andre Ward fights tournament newcomer the hard-hitting Alan Green. For more information about the Super Six, as well as all upcoming Showtime sports events, we invite you to visit our website at sports.show.com. That's sports.show.com. Tonight, from the MCH Arena in Herning, Denmark, it was Mikkel Kessler winning by unanimous decision over Carl Froch. That'll do it for tonight. For Al Bernstein and Antonio Tarver here in New York and Steve Farhood in Denmark, I'm Gus Johnson saying good night. You've been watching the Super 6 World Boxing Classic here on Showtime.